The HOA conspiracy that shook our neighborhood. The pounding on my front door that Monday morning felt like a sledgehammer to my chest. It was 8:30 a.m. in our quiet suburban enclave of Willow Creek, a place where the biggest scandals usually involved misplaced recycling bins or overgrown hedges. My coffee was still steaming on the kitchen counter when the aggressive knocking started, the kind that screams trouble before you even open the door. My name's Tom Harper, a 52-year-old accountant who moved here 5 years ago for the promise of safety and community. But that morning, as I peered through the peephole and saw 4 men in police uniforms, my gut told me something was horribly wrong. Their eyes held a cold calculation that made my blood run cold, and what unfolded next would unravel the very fabric of our neighborhood. Willow Creek was the American dream in brick and mortar. Neat lawns, friendly waves, and block parties where kids chased fireflies while adults swapped stories over lemonade. My wife, Ellen, and I chose this place for its predictability, a sanctuary from the chaos of city life. But when I opened the door, the 4 men badges gleaming, clipboards in hand launched into a rehearsed speech about an arrest warrant for Ellen on charges of evidence tampering and obstruction of justice. The paperwork looked real, but their delivery felt off, like actors stumbling through a script. They knew things they shouldn't. The blind spot in our security camera, the 30-second delay on our alarm, even Ellen's daily routine down to her coffee order at the corner diner. How did they know so much about us? The leader, a tall guy leaning casually against my porch railing, rattled off details about our anniversary dinner the night before at Bella Vita, complete with photos of us laughing over pasta and tiramisu. My stomach churned. These weren't cops. They were imposters who'd been watching us for months. As my hands shook, Ellen stepped onto the porch in her county sheriff's uniform navy tactical pants, polished boots, badge shining like a beacon. The fake cops froze, their bravado crumbling as she demanded their credentials with the authority of someone who'd faced real criminals. County Detective Ellen Harper, badge 529. Weapons down. Now. Her voice was ice, and in that moment, our quiet suburb became a battlefield. Ellen's transformation was electrifying. The men, expecting to intimidate a suburban housewife, were now staring down a seasoned detective. She drew her service weapon, took cover behind the porch column, and radioed for backup. The leader tried to bluff, stepping toward her with a smirk, but Ellen sidestepped, flipped him against the railing, and cuffed him in seconds, listing charges with textbook precision: assault, impersonation, fraud. Neighbors, drawn by the commotion, filmed from their windows, and by noon, the footage was viral, trending as fake cops versus real detective. But as the sirens of real police approached, I couldn't shake the question: who sent these men, and why us? The answer pointed to our neighbor, Linda Grayson, the HOA vice president. Linda was the quintessential suburban saint, always organizing potlucks, watering plants for vacationing neighbors, and baking cookies for birthdays. At 55, she radiated trustworthiness, the kind of person you'd cast as perfect neighbor in a movie. But when she appeared at our doorpost incident, coffee in hand, her questions about the fake cops were too sharp, too probing. She asked about Ellen's cases, hinting she knew Ellen wasn't just a county clerk, as we'd told everyone. That slip set off alarms. How did Linda know about Ellen's detective work? Ellen dug deeper, and what we found was chilling. The fake cops were hired through a shell company, Neighborhood Watch Solutions, funded by the Willow Creek Safety Fund, Linda's pet project. Residents had donated thousands, thinking it paid for extra patrols or streetlights. Instead, Linda had siphoned $9,200 to finance this harassment. Bank records showed cash transactions and prepaid debit cards, designed to hide the money trail. But the real bombshell came from our neighbor, Karen Mitchell, a 58-year-old retiree whose Ring doorbell had become an accidental surveillance hub after a package theft scare. Karen's footage was a goldmine. For 8 months, her camera captured Linda entering homes with spare keys, lingering for hours, and leaving with notebooks or devices. She wasn't checking mail. She was mapping our lives, photographing interiors, measuring security gaps, documenting routines. The footage also showed Linda meeting a well-dressed man, later identified as developer Michael Turner, exchanging envelopes in shadowy corners of Willow Creek. These weren't neighborly chats. They were briefings for a real estate scam. Linda's plan? Create a safety crisis to tank property values, forcing sales at bargain prices for Turner to flip for profit. Confronting Linda at her home was like stepping into a spy thriller. Her warm facade vanished, replaced by a cold, calculating demeanor. "I wondered when you'd catch on," she said, gesturing to a coffee table covered with files labeled with residents' names. Our file included photos, schedules, even floor plans of our house. Linda admitted to a year-long operation to destabilize Willow Creek. As the HOA's emergency contact coordinator, she had keys, security codes, and schedules for every home. "People trust you when you bring cookies," she smirked, revealing plans for fake break-ins and staged thefts to scare residents into selling. The climax came at an emergency HOA meeting. Linda called to dissolve the board and transfer control to a management company she likely invented. She'd spent the week spinning us as paranoid troublemakers, swaying 7 of 12 households. But Detective Robert Hayes, a compromised sheriff's deputy who'd fed Linda police intel, had a change of heart. Standing up mid-meeting, he played recordings of Linda and Turner plotting our harassment, calling us suburban sheep, too trusting to notice her scheme. The room fell silent as Linda's voice detailed her exploitation of our goodwill. The vote flipped instantly 11-1 against her. Sirens wailed as sheriff's units swarmed the community center. Linda was arrested for wire fraud, extortion, and theft, facing 3 years in federal prison and $60,000 in restitution. Hayes resigned, taking a plea deal to expose Turner's broader network, which targeted 6 other suburbs. The fake cops got 18 months each, their fiasco now a law enforcement training case. Willow Creek transformed. Karen became HOA president, mandating transparency and splitting the coordinator role to prevent abuse. Ellen earned a county award, and our story became an FBI seminar case study. A year later, at our community barbecue, the air felt lighter. A framed photo of Linda's developer handshake hung in the community center, captioned, "Evidence hides in plain sight. Heroes live in our homes. Trust requires verification." We'd learned the hard way that danger doesn't always wear a fake badge. It can smile and hand you coffee. But when communities stand together, justice finds a way. What do you think about this story of betrayal and justice? Have you ever faced violence or injustice in your own neighborhood? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Take a stand. Tell us your perspective, and let's spark a conversation about trust and safety in our communities.